China after quite a few switches. He was on France, he was on... I don't remember any. Oh, but he has decided to...
Germany! We haven't seen Germany yet today.
We haven't seen Germany.
At least on our stream.
Yeah, it may have been played earlier. We're not sure
we haven't
what
seen any games from Conqueror yet today.
I suspect he did play Germany in previous. I don't know. That is the case. But ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into game number 1 in a best of 5 series. The grand finals of the ESOC and Escape jointly sort of co-hosted 2 towns tournament. Players begin with their regular TCs, but also get a covered wagon, which they can place anywhere on the map immediately from the start of the game. So players will begin with 2 town centres, of course, one of which is in the normal place. I think that's good, but the other they do get to be quite creative with. Spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the colour red, we do have Taben playing as the Chinese. His TC wagon going quite far back, already signalling that he is wanting to cluster them together for that defence and go up to the Fortress Age and perhaps even the Industrial Age, that classic China FF we've been seeing so much of today. Already could be on the cards there. However, Conqueror to the left-hand side of the map in the colour teal, or cyan, playing as the Germans. Very excited to see Germany. We haven't seen them on the ESOC stream just yet.
On the Escape stream, rather.
Pardon me. That is what I meant to say. I'm looking forward to seeing what deck he's got, because we saw a very eco-focused approach with the France, with the ports from people today, but just now Taben won with something a bit more aggressive, and I think Germany could pull that off very, very well, given that they have, as we know, the Olans that they get for free, right? TC goes out in the middle of the map, and that could well suggest something aggressive. At least he's going to get map control, and he's confident enough that this forward position he'll be out of control. I'm looking forward to seeing what is in store here.
Taben has scouted that, by the way. He knows it's there. His monk went straight past it and saw it being constructed. So Taben's well aware that that TC is forward. But, you know, you talk about the German tower rush, about German TC rush. How does that sound for size?
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't think we'll see it in the traditional sense, just because...
No.
Sending, you know, that military shipment at the forward spawn point, normally very strong, but when you're bashing them into 2 TCs, that is probably not ideal.
No.
So probably will see some sort of Fortress Age pressure like we have this whole tournament. But it could be like what Taben just did, right? And maybe it will be used as a jumping off point. And Germany have really, really strong shipments, Zach. So I think Germany is the sieve to use. But China does catch the monk. Nice use of the Disciple to block there.
Yeah, he's going to get that, and at this rate, that is not going to make it home. Mr. Jonnen von Blücher will be taken out and will be not making it home today.
Yeah, that's really awkward, because Germany needs a trading post. That's what makes them strong. And his Explorer, it looks like he is going to be able to pick himself up 50 coin just before he goes down. Yeah, he gets that in, but he's not going to be able to build...
sacrifice.
He's not going to be able to build the trading post, Zach. That's a really big deal.
That is a big deal. And he's not going to be able to go treasure either, because if you go to that trading post at the bottom, for example, to the trading post, well, there's 90 coin there, of course. If you go there, there's a, Native American warrior, so that's Tomahawk probably. And then you've got other treasures around as well. He's going to collect up the scout. So there's still plenty of treasures out there for Taben to collect. And of course, having no explorer is going to be
it's kind of awkward. He's going to have to send a Vil out here to pick it up, and he's not going to be able to start the TP until he's in the Colonial Age. And really, he wants to be getting that in transition. So that's the trouble. That's the big deal that he's facing there. But so far, Taben has started with 300 wood, and that's interesting. It's like a villager shipment almost. You get a village, because obviously you're building one, and then you send the refugee card, and you've already got an extra village. And maybe you chop for an extra 100 wood during transition.
And you get another one. And then you get 5 villagers from your Age 1 card.
That's really strong. Okay, gonna send it. Not gonna get that second one, but still, this
4 is bloody good.
Yeah, especially when China usually only get 2.
Yeah, double. It's like your Sunday SmackDown double card thing that you did.
It is not quite as good, but yeah, we're
nearly there.
It's impressive, right? And I'm really liking how this meta has evolved over today. We've seen things grow, we've seen people figure it out, and you don't usually get to see that over the course of one SmackDown. Today, we're seeing people learn how to play this format.
Yep, and we do see that trade post coming up in transition for Conqueror, building it instead with a settler wagon.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. You want that settler wagon gathering resources, but, you know, the...
what can you do? That's how the cookie
situation.
crumbles.
Let's just put recalc on because we don't have that at the moment. But it won't make much difference, it seems. As at the moment, Conqueror just ahead by 2 Vils. Will be first up as well, actually, it seems.
Yeah, both players going up, very normal politicians here. On the SmackDown patch, which we're playing, more info in the chat, and if you're watching on YouTube, indeed, the description. The politicians have been slightly altered. Not so much like the Quartermaster that gives you 400 wood is the exact same, but there are some changes, and I'll let you explore them if you want to. There's a thread on the ESOC forums to do that, but we'll mention them in the commentary if they do become relevant. But at the moment, very normal, tried and true politicians. I think these players are going to go with builds and stuff that they're sort of comfortable with. 400 wood, indeed, for Conqueror. He gets down 2 buildings there. And a forward barracks. Okay, so not going to be the stable that you usually see from Germany. Let's switch to units in queue, I imagine.
Pike. Yeah, there it is.
Pikeman
wants to contest the... well, actually, you know what? That Summer Palace is quite exposed. Now, I don't know if it would be crazy, but if Tabern's going for an FF, he won't actually have many units out. That Summer Palace could be a target. Other buildings could potentially be a target. The trade post to the south, for example.
It is really far out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thankfully, though, the Summer Palace is exceptionally hard to kill.
5,000 health.
It's very tanky, right? And that's probably why he had the confidence to place it there. But yeah, he's going to go for the village, which has also got a lot of health. But he can kill that.
Onto the villagers there as well.
Colonial aggression, Zach.
I know.
In the grand finals.
Do you see that?
I guess it's just so unexpected that maybe it's going to work. This village is going to go down, and if you can kill the village against China, that's really strong. But China is going to stick to the plan. 700 gold. Going to get up to the Fortress Age as fast as he can. Has trained some disciples, though, to sort of hold this pressure.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But, I think if he actually does want to kill the Summer Palace, given how quickly he's killed that village, he could do it. Take twice as long, of course, but wouldn't be totally unreasonable to move on to that next, as it won't be in range of the TC.
So you said, how do you feel about a town centre rush, Will? And that's exactly what he's done. 8 crossbows has come out of that and is followed up with the 5 pike shipments. So this is a tower rush through and through, but it's not all in. What he's done is sent 3 settler wagons behind it, so he's not committed to constant aggression and playing the game out in this way. He's just a bit of pressure, because China, they usually want to go up to the Fortress Age. They're not going to do anything to you whilst they're doing that, and you take advantage of that fact with some units.
I feel like the crossbow have been incredibly underwhelming, though. They have killed and done practically nothing.
They've killed, no villagers.
2 disciples went down, right? But 11 crossbows have been lost.
Yeah.
He does, however, take a village. He takes a market, and who knows? He may very well get the trade post.
The second
now
village,
as well.
wasn't it? I feel like that's not updated properly. There was one here, surely, that was
he
next
killed a
to
village and then he killed the market.
Oh, I thought that was a second village. Right. Yeah, he did lose 12 crossbows, and what did he gain for it? No villager kills. I think he was really hoping for a villager kill, but he did bell up some villagers, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot to lose without getting any permanent economic damage done.
He'll get the trade post in the south, though, and that'll be no problem.
That's a nice consolation.
I mean, really, it's not a lot to pay. 5 pikes trained, and he's able to take out 3 buildings like that. I mean, he actually did train a few more, my bad. But the point is, he can even. I still think going for the Summer Palace would be reasonable.
It maybe he could have gotten it down. It seems it's not like China would have stopped him doing that. But
he could go for it now. Still, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think in a way, perhaps killing the villages is better, because the Summer Palace, it has a lot of long-term value, but really all you're denying is that first, perhaps, banner army. Whereas if you kill all these villages, he has to rebuild them. Otherwise, he can't ship any units, and that's his whole game plan.
That's true.
But he's going to go for it anyway.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
There are some units out for Tabard now, though.
There are.
Got
that first banner army, by the looks of it, has arrived.
And the Chico knew as well, so he won't want to stick around there and just take free damage while he sieges that. But there is a village at the back that could be exposed, you could consider. And the Ulan, of course, always a threat as well.
Really frustrating to handle. They're coming in now. He's going to lose them, but does force the villagers in. What he wants to be doing with those is sending these villagers away. He needs to delay that as much as he can. I think these not doing too much.
I would just
Conqueror shifting gears now. He's sending 700 coins, Zach. So going to go up to the Fortress Edge. I think he's done with his colonial pressure.
Yeah, and I'd like to really point out the fact that the recalculated eco population.
Oh my goodness.
47 to 30. So not only was he applying pressure there, but and you can see he killed no villagers.
Yeah.
But he is actually now 18 villagers ahead.
Yeah.
How has he done that? Well, he's obviously shipped 3 settler wagons, 2 settler wagons as well, but maybe just more
sheer use of the...
Yeah.
I think his opponent was like trying to get up to the Fortress Age and keeping to continuing to train villagers from both. It makes it really hard to do that, especially when you're garrisoned with all your villagers because those crossbowmen are annoying you. I think he's just gained so many villagers. He's in a really great spot. But I'm pretty pleased with where Conqueror is at the moment. But don't count China out. They have so many units. They gain them so quickly. And it's absurd. They're just so good once they get to the Fortress Age. And he has now done that. That's where China wants to be. And this is where the game will start for him.
Yeah, those flood of units, it's scary how quickly the Chinese player can just double, triple their numbers in the blink of an eye. We'll come in there and push those villas off that TC. And following this up, we've got swordsmen, actually.
Changdaos. Yeah.
And they actually have reasonable siege.
They do. They're like big bastard siege chaps.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you mean bastard as in the bastard sword,
of course. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
PC stream.
Yeah. But now it's Conqueror who's built up, and Tabun is going to be the one pressuring the front of his base with suddenly, a rather large army.
Yeah. Don't count him out. Dictator is in a really nice spot here. Lots of units coming out, that 10 Arquebusier shipment, and we're just getting started. The Summer Palace and the Confucius Academy, it's coming.
Yeah, Conqueror's going to be pushed all the way back, and he's actually just followed up with 1,000 gold. Let's just see his deck real quick. I wonder if he's got any mercenary in deck. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, almost always, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's what's coming, isn't it?
Jaegers or Black Riders. What do you think's better here? Maybe Jaegers?
Yeah, I think Jaegers, just to keep up in the skirm count. Like, Black Riders, really not effective against... but first, going to start with big batch of skirms, plus the Ulan shipment, and maybe he'll call Minutemen as well. Now coming in with the pikemen and skirms, and this is a nice pop here. There's not a lot of anti-cav. The anti-cav's coming, the muskets and the Changdao, but they're not here right now. The skirmishers are going to be struggling to handle it, but they are some trees that they can walk through, going to make it a little bit awkward for those cav as they try to figure out how to get through. They're bumbling around, and I think actually it'll be okay. Taben, he's all right.
Yeah, that fight was really split up, actually. I mean, Conqueror got the perfect timing on those Ulans coming out as Taben was under his TC, the Ulans popping on top of them, but they've all been cleaned up now pretty much. And Conqueror has a slight lead in military, but it's not enough to really overwhelm the Chinese. They can, as you said before, very quickly replenish their numbers.
Yeah.
And yeah, he'll clean up that last Ulan. But now we do have some war wagons as well.
Yeah.
They were being trained. And for Taben, meteor hammers and flails.
I think this has gone well for Conqueror, though.
It has.
Look at that eco pop.
So good. And he's really not... I mean, the thing is, this is purely out-macroing his opponent because neither of them have really lost any villagers this game. That's purely just production. Better production from Conqueror.
Yeah.
Now 8 Ulan coming out. It's interesting. I think that's interesting. Thought he would go for the Mercs, but no.
No, it looks like he's just used that gold to buy units.
Yeah, which is completely reasonable, of course.
Although he has got 31 vills on gold there, stacking up quickly. And I think he's going to reach 1,000 gold just as the shipment becomes available. So I think next will be the shipment. And I think that's maybe he's getting back here, just do some damage. And he knows he's intending to send mercenaries, so would rather not push until they're here. I think that might be it.
More war wagons would be really good here, though, because we're starting to see quite a big cav switch from Taben. He's got a lot of meteor hammers there. And, he just needs to be careful there because obviously he doesn't want to get his skirms overwhelmed by those cavalry. And, of course, even the Ulan will be struggling a little bit.
China cav really good. Does have a batch of war wagons, though. That's what he needs to handle the meteor hammers. Exactly. And it looks like he's going to force a fight here.
It's not great for Conqueror there.
Yeah. He's looking to just get involved. Taben has resigned.
There you go. Okay.
For a moment there, I thought it was Conqueror. Yeah. But he realizes there's too many war wagons. That 5 batch of war wagons came at just the perfect time.
The start of the fight could have been a little better, but in the end, I think that the fact that he had the war wagons there was more than enough.
Good stuff. That was a really exciting first game. A really good example of Age of Empires 3. Even though it was 13 minutes and 5 seconds, we've seen a lot of super long games today, but we want to... I think this format has, if anything, in the Grand Finals proven to us that it can stay true to the Age of Empires 3 roots. You see a mix of long games, of short games, and that was a really nice game to watch.
I really want to see that villager graph.
Okay,
I want to
let's do it.
Because I just think maybe either Taben was cutting villager production. Yeah, totally cutting. And that's, I think, why he called GG there, because
not enough
he may have been okay in that fight. Like, I'm not sure how that fight would have gone, it probably would have gone in Conqueror's favour, but not by much, perhaps. But the fact is that Tabern knows he's got no eco behind this, and Conqueror just pulling ahead the whole time.
Yeah, you can see that illustrated on this graph. It's just off into like a rocket. But where's that copy paster? I need to read it out now. You can nerf walls, you can ban auto, but you can't something about NA, I don't know. But look at that, Ceylon will be our next map. I butchered the copy paster.
USA, that's what the chat's saying right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting from the chat.
Well, I'm gonna have to root for Tabern here. Support my EU pleb buddy, as the Americans would say, perhaps.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy, old pal or chum.
But coming up next will be Ceylon. And I don't think this time we'll see something quite so ridiculous as Lucas's Aztec. Or maybe we will, I don't know. We'll see what Conqueror can play. I'm not sure what Civs he's practiced with, to be honest. But I think this map will actually, I think, if anything, favour Conqueror. Just because I think, he's experienced with Deathmatch and Treaty, and I think that sort of hecticness might translate well onto an unusual map like Ceylon. I think that's why Conqueror's managed to get to the Grand Finals in the first place. But let's talk about these players a little bit. We didn't do that too much in Game 1, did we?
No, we didn't.
So we've got a few accolades to share.
Yeah, before we get into this next one.
Tabern and Conqueror are both, very, very strong players. Tabern, in fact, top 8, will be attending the studio here in July to compete on the stage in the New World Championships. But Tabern, I've got to pass this text document first.
Yeah, so we'll look at this. We've got some information, previous matchups between these two players in particular. All the way back in 2018, May, Mono Civ Cup, Conqueror beat Tabern 1-0 in the round of 32.
He's come a long way then.
The following month, Tabern beat Conqueror, which was an upset at the time, in the round of 32 of the Supremacy Cup number 3. So that was sort of a back and forth between the two. And then September of 2018, in the Autumn Championship, Tabern beats Conqueror 3-1. And then once again, in June of 2019, in the Underused Cup, round of 16, he beat Conqueror 1-0. So Tabern is definitely
just to sum
ahead in that tally.
In that tally against Conqueror specifically, yes. But that also sums up perfectly how much Tabern has improved as a player over the last couple of years. He's now, I think, officially a big boy. And we're seeing him here in the Grand Finals. He's qualified for a LAN. And I think you can't say... Tabern is jacked, man. He's really, really improved.
Yeah, he's been hitting the gym.
But we will be going into Ceylon, which you're getting a good aerial view of right now. And yes, this I'm excited for. Ceylon is a really unusual map, and this was my pick because obviously Escape is co-hosting this tournament with ESOC, and I get a say on the map pool, so I get to put ridiculous things like Ceylon into the map pool.
Because it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I have some leverage there, and I want to see games on Ceylon. And
if you've got leverage, you've got to use it. That's how it goes.
Exactly. And if you were ever to use Ceylon in the map pool, you would put it on... You'd do it for a 2-town tournament, because it just makes so much sense, right? You have this island, you have the big island, and that's what the players do. They put their TC wagons into the catamaran, and we'll see them, zoom straight onto the mainland. But spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the color teal, we do have Conqueror 999 playing as the Portuguese. This is a water civ through and through. This is a water map through and through. The covered wagon has arrived and will be placed. I love how they just place them immediately on the coast. Well, at least the British has, and that's what we've seen mostly. But actually going to scout a little bit. I guess there's no resources there. He wants to go next to a hunt, so fair enough.
Yeah. And I think that Tabern's location is pretty good. It's next to the 2 elephants, the gold mine, and some berries. So just 1 elephant in this case. Usually there's 2. That's unusual, but doesn't really matter too much, I guess. I don't know, actually. There's a lot more hunt in the north, it seems, on this map, and Conqueror's positioning there is actually quite nice.
Yeah, I guess he didn't know about the hunt there. I think he just arrived and thought, well, I'm not building it there.
Yeah, don't blame him.
Yeah.
There's 90 wood treasure right there as well, which you might pick up later. Yeah. He's got his Explorer on the mainland. In fact, both players have.
Those are the worst textures I've ever seen in AoE 3.
Don't zoom in. Okay. Zoom out.
No, they look a lot better now, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's weird. AoE 3 can look really pretty at times, and sometimes it can look quite muddy.
Yeah, so I think that's something the DE would have a good opportunity. There's a lot of like low-res textures that could look a lot nicer.
Make them 4K, and then you can't complain.
Exactly.
Right, well...
Game plan. Should we talk about that?
Game plan. British we saw earlier on this map against the Aztecs, and it was Tabben against Lucas, in fact. So he's sticking to the Brits, and he didn't really go for a big, heavy water play. He went for a big land play. Now, doesn't mean that he doesn't have water in his deck. We saw it last time around as well. Basically, this is the same deck.
Yeah, that's his deck.
He's got the 2 caravels, he's got the schooners, he's got the frigate, he's got the 4
2 upgrades,
privateers as well.
All that good stuff.
And then Conqueror, we're seeing the Portuguese, which is a traditionally very strong water civ as well. Wow,
Knisi! That's a Knisi deck. IP check. Let's go.
Oh, God. Is it that too soon? I don't know. But
you laughed, though, so it's
stacking
it's
a lot of... I did, that's true. Stacking a lot of water upgrades there. Obviously, Conqueror has to play for the water here.
Yeah, and this is very, to be entirely honest, Knisi, no jokes aside, this is a very, very reminiscent of a deck that Knisi would play here. It's very, very similar, and I think we're going to see from Conqueror an attempt at that style where he is going to go very, very heavy on water. And this is even if you can't do it as good as Knisi, this is a absolutely incredible map, and it doesn't matter if you can't do it as good as Knisi because you're still going to get to achieve so much. We saw how good Aztec was. Ports is perhaps just as good on water. Schooners coming out immediately. Going to see that water boom.
Interesting, because Tabben has just gone for Virginia Company, which he did not do last game. I think he sent Wood last game, which was sort of for his early aggression in Colonial.
Yeah.
Because he went for that Colonial aggression. This time around, I guess, he's against the Portuguese. He's probably expecting the Portuguese player to play more heavily on the water. So, I don't know. The Virginia Company is interesting because obviously you're going to need that population room. Your mana's become cheaper. You're producing 2 villages at a time. Maybe he follows this up with schooners and goes for water as well.
Oh my goodness. 15% hit points to buildings. That's a treasure.
Pretty good.
Conqueror working on that. But Virginia Company, it's going to allow him to keep up with that water boom for a while. I think even he'll be ahead of it for the time being. Virginia Company is really, really strong. In his deck, though, does have schooners too, so could be room. British isn't bad on water, but they're no Portuguese. Although in terms of upgrades, I think British have
better
more
upgrades here.
Yeah, just the
on
one
the ships at least.
Improved warships, and that's it. Whereas Tabben has offshore support as well.
And he's got the frigate in there, and he's got the privateers as well, so he's got all the additional upgrades from that.
Yeah.
But, Conqueror here has a shipment ready to send. Now he's in H2. Of course, another covered wagon will pop out.
Yep.
And this is really where the strength of the Portuguese come from, that sort of shoreline lockdown that comes from having town centres having such a big bonus attack, of course, against boats. So he can protect those fish quite nicely.
He is locking down an area of ocean, right? Like, this one is great because it's your starting TC, but it covers, like, water. No one's coming through this stretch. And now he's carving out a portion of water with this not only additional TC, but the one you get in the Colonial Age. So port bonus is just so good here. Not only do they get cheaper villagers that they can train from now 3 TCs instead of 2, but also an extra TC to cover the water with. There's so much synergy here. But Tabben trying to get a few hurls of fire sticks in there, not going to do too much.
Tabben got a military building. He's
Shall we take? Let's go to. I think we need to stay on the all units tab here, just so we can keep up to date with what the hell's going on in this game. We'll put shipment sent here, but no military buildings just yet from Tabben.
He needs to maybe I don't know. I think maybe considering a colonial aggression could be interesting. Yeah, there it is. Because if you think about it, those 2 TCs, they're placed quite far apart. It could be quite possible to siege one with the colonial aggression. And the problem that Lucas had when he faced Tabben was a lack of scouting. He didn't actually scout the barracks. He never saw the colonial aggression coming.
Yeah.
But in this case, Conqueror has a villager right there. He may very well just see that.
He can for sure see that.
So this is not going to be such a surprise to him at all.
Yeah, he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
We can switch to units in queue.
Musks in queue, maybe? Yeah, there we
just
go.
the one Musk there. Gonna, just harass the villagers, force them into the TC. And now is the time to do it, because there's no caravels or anything offshore to harass you. But, the Virginia Company keeping up well with the fishing boom here. He's got 40 eco population. I think now ports will start to pull ahead just because, 3 docks with schooners, which makes fishing boats train faster and are cheaper. He's going to get ahead quite quickly. 2 caravels,
though.
But I think
Look where they've spawned.
Tabin knows this. Yeah, he's moved the flag up to the top
great.
here. He's got line of sight from his dock, placed it as close as he can to his opponent, and is now... What was that?
That was a boat, my friend.
There was a big splash. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I think that was a boat.
Oh, all right then.
I don't know. But he's definitely in a position now to start raiding the fish, and Conqueror isn't going to be able to respond to that very quickly.
Colonial Militia coming in.
Yeah, that's it. The feudal aggression. Oh, sorry, the colonial aggression. Oh no, I did so well not to say feudal.
You're sacked.
Old stream.
Goodbye. Baby Rage in the chat. No, Swift Rage, that's the one. No, it's not a big deal. But yeah, the Colonial Militia is a response to these muskets. I think already forcing that is actually a victory in itself for Tabin.
Yeah, right.
He can now just go, oh,
It's
all
third
right.
caravel on the water as well, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's the catamaran, whatever it's called. But yeah, going to kill some fish right here. And that's awkward for Conqueror, because he has got the eco lead, but only if they're working.
That's true, and they're not working now.
No, they're not. They're running.
They're sailing. I don't know how this guy's sailing, but he is.
They're rowing. Improved warships now coming in.
They are not rowing, but sure, they are moving. Oh, they are rowing. There's a row.
They have rows, oars. But yes, Tabin with improved warship. Looks like he really wants to lock that down, and now he's got to force Conqueror to react to that. The problem is Conqueror just sent Colonial Militia.
Yeah.
So he's not got a warship out. He's not got one in queue.
That was really well done from Tabin.
Now he's got the 2 caravels out. There you go.
And that's going to allow him to get his boats back to work. That's kind of what he needs, and it is forcing a reaction now. So this is what Tabin wants, just him to commit. He can't commit to all those fish upgrades, right? In this deck, we've got rendering plant, we've got whale oil, all of these things. He's forcing him to send stuff like Colonial Militia and to send stuff like advanced dock, which will be really helpful for defending as well. Yeah, he sent caravels in this case for sure.
And there's 3 boats out for Tabin.
Old Doug!
Improved warship.
We experienced Old...
rip. Yeah, there's 3 boats from Tabin. He's actually got 2 more caravels there, which he's trained, plus improved warship. He will easily clean that up. And Tabin now really pressuring Conqueror on the water, while at the same time having 90% of the land control. Tabin seems to be very well versed on this map, and he's doing really well here.
Yeah, he's locked it down. He's at 200 pops, so he's got all the manor houses down and is fully boomed here. And he's keeping up. That is respectable, given that there's so many fishing boats here.
Right.
Doing what he needs to stop those fishing boats gathering and destroying them as well. Armor placing now coming in too.
Yeah, just stacking those upgrades, which is really nice, and should be able to go toe-to-toe with Conqueror there quite comfortably. He does have 26 villagers on wood, which, is aiding his production of warships, but it will be slowing down his potential for a Fortress Age upgrade here. Whereas Conqueror, look at his feet. He's actually really close to getting the resources he needs for Fortress Age.
Just needs a 700 gold shipment, and he's good to go, isn't he?
Very
Let's take
close.
a look at units in queue here. More boats coming from Conqueror.
Barracks from Conqueror too, though.
Barracks, on the coast there, right next to it.
He's
in between the
being
TCs.
raided here, by the way. So it has got to be careful of that. Villagers there being picked off just a little bit.
Yeah, let's take a look at units lost. Just 2 so far. So he's done a good job of defending, but Tabin there just being really annoying, keeping them belled up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Improved warships coming in for Conqueror now, so he doesn't send the gold. He's going to try and mine that.
2 more.
But good luck mining that if you're constantly being harassed, right? And here we go on the water. That should be Conqueror's fight. He does have the numbers on his side.
Yeah, but Tabin does have 2 upgrades in, and he's got armor plating.
And a 3rd upgrade about to come in too.
Yeah, he's getting Carronade in, whereas these guys, armor plating not in just yet. So I think it's quite even fight, given he started with an extra boat. Does pull off the low HP boat to be repaired near the docks.
Okay, yeah. Tabin does have that in the end. Those upgrades making a difference.
This will be huge if he can get this in. If this goes down...
He's got it, surely. It's in range.
They have to turn and shoot, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he can keep moving... If you can dodge... he got it. He needed to keep that alive, because then it can be repaired. Galleons coming out now. We've got to the maximum 5 caravel limit, so you can't make more caravels, which is what you would want to do, so have to switch into galleons.
Yeah, but that's still fine. I mean, more numbers is better, and Tabin here repairing his caravel at home keeps the numbers in his favor, and it's a little bit misleading with the military unit population, because they're not counted, of course, but
2.
He definitely has more than 2, as we can see.
He's probably got 2 muskets, yeah, there they are.
Honestly, Tabin is looking tip-top at the moment. He's also really not far behind on economy.
Yeah, it's looking great for him.
And if you consider resources gathered, I'd probably say it was ahead overall.
I think we can actually check that kind of thing.
Total resources gathered.
Where?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, you have to go into the Control Shift C. Res. I don't know how to do it, basically.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
you can do it. I've just forgotten the command.
It's
but
fine.
I can zoom out and I can change the lighting, but I don't know how to do things like check the. It's
Zooming
not
out and changing the lighting much more important.
much more important. Well, you rarely need to check all resources gathered.
But I just would hypothesize Tabben would be ahead at this point, given that Conqueror's had so much idle time.
I would think you're right for sure. But somehow Conqueror does find his way up to the Fortress Age here. And he's going to place that third TC, trying to carve out some water, but Tabben's done such a good job of stopping it.
Yeah, he's going to take down one more Caravel, and maybe even the final Caravel. All 4 of those ships firing away at Berio there.
Yeah, can he get the Galleon away as well?
Ocean.
Yes, he can.
Very
Unicorn will escape.
Honestly, if you look at the units lost now, it's going to look terrible for Conqueror.
1 dug, 7 Caravels.
Yep, and how many boats has Tabben lost?
No boats.
That's impressive.
Except the Catamaran, but who cares about that?
Yeah, no one.
That's really good. Oh
Goes
my
back,
god.
repairs them up.
Yeah, he does. Look,
Such good trading.
He just keeps them back here. Oh, it's so good. It's so
very
good.
But,
Such good control.
The frigate's out now, and Tabben is still in Age 2. He's about to reach Age 3, however, aging up very quickly here with the... actually, is he... Oh, he's going for the Admiral of the Ocean Sea. It looked like he was upgrading really quickly, but no, he'll get the extra Caravel for free there from that upgrade.
Now I'll have 6 Caravels, which is cheating. You can only get 5. You get 1 for free, so yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, doing very well. And Tabben seems to be really trying to contest this water, now doing an artillery foundry. Hello.
Falcons in queue, here we go.
And 2 more racks, or racks in the stable. 3 racks now as well. He's going for veteran musket. And Tabben is just at the point. Look at his resources, Will. That's insane.
Yeah, I think
he's going to just stay.
He's going to drop an industrial behind that, do you think? Or do you think he'll spam cannons?
No, he's going to stay here. And oh, no, he's going industrial. Okay. Honestly, I thought he would just push from here.
The engineer. Yeah, he could well have done that.
I think you could have just done like 3 batches of Musk, 2 Falcons, and just pushed those TCs. But
off the back of this, he's going to go industrial, which is fine as well. He's going to be able to get... Well. He's got a big eco, although Conqueror's eco is bigger, but a lot of it is idle a lot of the time, as we've been sort of saying. But going to go up to industrial, get those upgrades, and indeed have access to, well, factories and rockets. Even perhaps field guns and Culverin Royale. But another fight here on the water. Both players have carronade and armor plating in, but the British ones also have an extra upgrade. They've got offshore support, so they've got slightly, I don't think, more range. That was how it works on our patch, more line of sight and more attack.
Right, and those frigates are going to have to GB.
They are. You have to retreat to the safety of the 3 TCs and indeed the docks.
It's quite scary, isn't it? An advanced dock now coming in for Conqueror as well. Those frigates, well, one may go down, but at the cost of a number of Caravels by the looks of things, and no, the frigate will even
He didn't lose a single boat there either.
No, he lost.
Still
Wow,
none.
he didn't lose any. Okay, wow.
He got 1 very low HP.
Oh, it's so low.
Get out of there.
He's getting out.
27 HP.
Oh,
go repair. Let's keep an eye on Adventurer. That one is...
Tabben is such a legend. Look at this.
Tabben's fucking jacked, man. He's doing so well.
Like, just not losing a single boat is just so impressive, and I want to know if he can keep that record till the end of the game. That would be awesome.
Here we go, though.
3
Engineer
Falcons.
is in, which gives you 2 Falconets in addition to the one that he trained there.
Oh, no, that's a blacksmith, sorry.
In addition, Falconets are in queue. There's a 4th one, it's just popped. And there's a 5th one in queue.
Yeah.
And now he's taken your advice. He clearly thinks Falconets is the way to go as well.
He should have done this last game, but anyway.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
All right, then.
Doesn't matter.
Here we go.
I think he's going to lose a ship, Will. It looks like it might just happen. Some of those Caravels are quite low, and they're sort of on the front lines fighting there. No, he's lost a boat.
First boat of the game. Was it Adventurer? That is the question.
I will grieve now for the rest of the game.
I think it was Adventurer. Frigate, though, is going to try and escape. Get it back. Get out the way of the frigate.
No escape.
Oh, my God.
No escape. It's going down. 83 HP. It's gone. It's gone, right? One more hit from the Galleon. Yeah. It's done. Conqueror, though, going industrial now as well. But not before the Falcons have deployed on his TC. That TC's gone. There's now rockets.
3 rockets here as well.
There's just siege galore, and I think Conqueror is done, honestly. Well, with that said, he has a huge eco, but he just doesn't have anything here. TC going to go down, perhaps. The Colonial Militia being rallied to try and take down the rockets.
Yeah. But not going to work out. I mean, he's got the... Remember, it's the stronger upgrade. GG coming in.
Wow.
And what a brilliant game from Tabben.
That was awesome.
Evening the score to 1-1. We are in for a grand final here.
Oh, yes. That was so cool. Look at how much artillery he had, by the way. There was like 6 Falcons, 3 rockets. I think it was 7 Falcons even. It was like... Conqueror had absolutely nothing on the land at all. He had just his Colonial Militia, which he upgraded, and that was it. Tabben played so incredibly well. Unit control for days, and I'm really impressed by him in that game.
Yeah, I am very, very impressed as well. Tabben, that was awesome. Let's take a look at the villager population. I'm interested to see. I think you're right. I think Conqueror, despite having more villager population the whole game, the all resources gathered...
Tabben's, right?
Exactly.
Just for the idle time.
And that's what we were thinking there. But a really, really excellent game. And I think when the developers made Age of Empires 3, that's what they imagined. They spent so much time on the water reflections and the textures on the boats. They were hand-painted, right? Just to make sure they looked like good. And we saw boats and cannons, and what a great example of Age of Empires 3. This grand final is really, really awesome. And that first game as well, I was really pleased with. I thought that was a really interesting one to watch.
That's hilarious. I love that random fact. Like, you just zoom into the boat. They were hand-painted. Off we go over somewhere else. Like,
I know my shit, man. That's what I know.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's get into the lobby. The score is 1-1. Tabben can't play British.
No.
Conqueror can't play Germans.
Bonnie Springs next. Which Bonnie lass is going to take this game?
We shall see. Tabben coming out with the French. Interested to see here if he goes with that same deck that we saw in the previous semi-finals that was much, much more aggressive than Maito or Kaiser's deck without those late-game upgrades. He was against Japan, remember. Or will he, go with a more late-game focused deck this time? We'll have to wait and see. But Conqueror, he can play ports, actually. Let's see what he goes for.
I don't think he would he? I mean, I guess there's no reason not to, but perhaps there's something that he would prefer. I don't really know what Conqueror's been doing today because he's been doing it all on the ESOC stream and we've missed that.
Yeah.
But Tabben's French definitely sort of favouring that not industrial Fortress Age pressure. Seems to have stacked up a lot of those sort of military shipments. Relatively few late game upgrades in his deck. We'll see if he has a different deck for this matchup. Maybe if he sees the matchup, he'll adjust the deck. But if he plays it similarly to last time, I think that sort of big Fortress Age push is what he's going for.
Yeah, he says France and BRB 2 minutes. So he's locked in France here. And
that is locked, but he could still change his deck depending on what his opponent picks, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't know exactly. Yes, he can change the deck, but we have to wait and see what Conqueror will go for first. He's got a while to defend. You can clearly see we've been casting all day, but it's worth it. This is an awesome series. 2 awesome players.
We've been at it all day long. I mean, how long have we been casting for today, Will? We started at 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, yeah. 15 GMT.
Yeah, it's now 11 o'clock.
Hot damn.
So it's been some hours. But it's all good. Let's see what Conqueror picks. It looks like Conqueror was also AFK for a moment there. Maybe he'll be back soon.
So Bonnie Springs is a map I'm really enjoying. It's quite a small map, but it is quite dynamic. With the walls in the center, it kind of sets that as an off-limit zone. People don't tend to go there.
You're right. It's really... There's not a lot there, is there? There's usually like a single coin mine, and that's it. I mean, other
maybe
than
hunt, some treasures. Yeah,
right.
Not a lot.
I mean, other than really having a little bit of a staging point to maybe push into your opponent. Because imagine you set up a little base in there.
Yeah.
They don't scout it, because why would anything be in there?
Yeah.
And suddenly you bust through the wall and you're in the base, right? That could be cool.
Yeah. That could be cool. That would be unexpected. But we are seeing the action happen on sort of this left side or this right side.
Yes.
Not in the middle,
post,
which is
right.
where usually games happen. And I actually think Bonnie Springs is a really interesting map that I kind of wish we'd included in the New World Championship map pool now. But I'm enjoying it a lot.
Don't kid yourself.
No, well, I think
great maps in the New World Championship map pool.
We do.
This one's a little bit gimmicky.
I'm really pleased with the map selection in the New World Championship map pool. God, I should have greened in there. But
It's fine.
This is fun. This is a nice, refreshing change of pace because we've seen those 9 maps in the New World Championship a lot, and I think it's good to see stuff like Ceylon and Bonnie Springs. I think we're having a good time because they're new and interesting. But shall we get into this? Taben will play France versus Conquerors Dutch. This is game number 3 in a best-of-5 series. The score is 1-1.
Yes, and this will obviously be our third match. French versus Dutch. 2 civs which in this setup, this tournament so far, both been played very sort of passively, looking for sort of late Fortress Age, maybe even Industrial Age aggression.
Yeah.
But something which Taben seems to be perhaps sort of not so interested in. You know, he's the one guy who seems to be working a little bit differently to the others. You know, we'll check his deck as we go into this later on.
We will.
But yeah, there he is, down to the south of the map.
It wasn't so late game focused, you're right.
No.
But Conqueror, we saw him do a full-out colonial aggression in game 1 of this series, so both of them.
But with Dutch, I think that's a different story.
Oh, yes, of course. But
we will check his deck as well. But we've seen Dutch earlier on. I think we saw like 7 banks.
Yeah, that's true.
And that wasn't enough, apparently. So, you know, I'm yet to see Dutch sort of prevail, come out ahead in any of these matchups.
Let's see how this goes. Taben in the south of the map in the color red, playing as indeed the French, has placed his TC next to the trading route.
Yes, but look which trade route he took.
On the opposite side. So this is very aggressive, it seems. He looks like he wants to get the trading route on his left side, but he's also going to push into his opponent's trade route and try and take at least this one off him, which is really, really interesting there. Might have a hard time getting the one at the back simply because Conqueror, who has spawned in the north of the map in the color I tried to say cyan and teal at the same time. Conqueror, here he is. He's placed his TC. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
His is next to this TP, so I can't see him getting that too heavily. But yes, everybody, Game 3 in the 2 Towns Tournament Grand Final, where players start with these additional town centres, of course. Let's take a look at their Age 1 so far. Conqueror, 50 coin, 80 XP there, as well as a boring 20 coin shipment. Taben falling behind in the treasuring, only 40 food so far, working on another 40. And there's a 30 food here as well.
Pretty crap treasures in the middle, but they're there, they're easy, you may as well get them. But yeah, I mean, Taben's falling behind because he built the TP, and Conqueror does not have a TP. He could build one, but maybe he's saving for a bank instead.
Yeah, I imagine that's what he'll do in the color once he starts to click up here. He's got a lot on gold because obviously Dutch villagers cost coin, and this signals that he is definitely training a lot. He's going to have a long sort of Age 1. I think we're going to see quite a number of villagers out from him.
Yeah, that seems to be the case if you're going for an FF as well. I mean, generally speaking, you probably don't want to cut villager production from a TC.
It does seem to be that is the case we've seen today.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there's a couple of schools of thought on this. One is you could cut the villager production on one TC and age up faster, which in AoE 2 is a viable thing. But in AoE 3, because I think the TC is so much stronger, it's probably a lot harder to get away with that. And so, because you're creating villagers from 2 town centres, you're also expending twice as much food than you normally would. And as a result, it's going to naturally slow down your colonial upgrade time. But probably does speed up your Fortress Age time because you can basically click straight up to Fortress once you get to Colonial.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Shall we take a look at their decks, though, like we were sort of saying? Firstly, though, text being researched, Taben going up with the Quartermaster, so that usual tried and true 400 wood politician. But Taben's deck this time around does have slightly more upgrades in it. But
are you sure?
He's got Royal Mint, whereas before he didn't.
Okay.
And he's got more Colonial Age Cav upgrades.
Right.
We didn't see them
before.
before.
He only had 2 Cav upgrades last time.
And what else we see is a 14 Skirmisher shipment, which does give him some room to go do some sort of fast industrial. And 14 Skirmishers is a really solid shipment there.
So he's actually adjusted his deck slightly from last time. That is interesting.
To deal with the Dutch specifically, it looks. But 300 wood, that's a card you would never, ever see in Standard Supremacy. But here, I think because you have such a slow Age 1, you can get away with sending those 2 shipments, which is what we've been seeing. I'm surprised,
though, trade post here.
There is a 2 CDB shipment that France had, but he's not put it in his deck. Instead, going to go with 300 wood for that trading post that you just mentioned.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. Maybe Taben didn't just adapt his deck for the Dutch, but maybe he adapted it so that if Conqueror was watching the stream earlier, and sort of saw his gameplay earlier on, he doesn't want to repeat his strategy. Perhaps he wants to keep something hidden so that Conqueror can't just blindly play against him, and he still has to, you know, adapt on the fly as well.
Some walls coming in here, incorporating. I hope that is close. I think it is. But yeah, joining it there and just going to add the walls in. He knows this TC is forward and he's just going to play that Dutch. Going to try and play defensively here. We'll take a look at his deck as well. He's going up with the Quartermaster for 400 wood. And now that we're in transition, we're seeing him place that bank down there. He has a shipment ready. And, you know, Dutch can send 300 wood too. It is in their deck, or in their list of cards, but not in this player's deck. So instead going to save that shipment for Age 2, which I think is also a fine thing to do, just because the Age 2 shipments are so much better.
No Bank of Rotterdam, only one bank there.
Yeah, I think that the 300 would only make sense because you're using it to get trading posts, whereas, yeah, I think it's unless if you're doing anything else, it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah. Maybe.
Cool. Well, walling up, obviously going to be cordoning off quite a big section of the map with that wall as well, and likely to be playing very passively, as we could imagine. Tabban then gearing up now towards the Fortress Age, probably going to be sending the gold. Oh, it's actually a wood shipment next. I thought he'd send the gold shipment next.
Yeah.
Because he only has 2 villagers on gold right now. So unless he's going to transition them all over to gold in the next 60 seconds or so.
I think he's probably intending to make 5 Hussars and still go up without 700 gold. This 700 wood, what it's allowing him to do is get a stable down, he'll get his stagecoach over here,
TP.
And I don't think he's got a market yet, so there's that. And yes, the third TP, and a barracks as well, by the looks of it.
That's interesting, right? Because he could have just gone straight up to Fortress here if he sent 700 coin.
Yeah.
But instead, he's actually doing a stable and a barracks.
And investing in stagecoach.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, it's not all into military here, but the point is he is obviously going to be making some military and trying to harass his opponent. That's going to cost him a little bit on the upgrade time, but it might pay off long term because we saw it in the first game, right? Just a little bit of colonial aggression actually made him get really far ahead in the end because his opponent was... it was the other way around, sorry. It was Conqueror with the colonial aggression. But my point is, a little bit of colonial aggression...
He's going
full, still do damage.
Not intending to go Fortress at all, actually. So he's sent 8 bowmen and is training Hussars and is going to have muskets popping in a moment as well. Can't wall that off. It's the trading post line. And, yeah, looking to be aggressive Age 2 here.
Yeah, I just wonder if that will work out for him. Obviously, Conqueror is training Huss as well. So, actually... the Huss can get straight onto this crossbow there, no problem, but can't path around the trees, it seems. So may have a problem.
They're like, don't get it. Yeah, but they meet up at the muskets.
They're over there, you say? But there's a forest here.
I don't get trees. How do I don't know. Yes, that does seem to be how units.
It sounds like how Hussar would talk.
When you click on them, they do have like the French ones at least have a really rough. They're like blah blah blah, you know. The British ones. I think that is how a Hussar would sound. Like this, really croaky. Ah.
Yeah, something like that. But Tabban with a much bigger mass here, so this Huss will have to stay back. But those walls making it awkward for him to get in.
But he's just bleeding out. He's killed a villager. That's nice. Oh, pikeman being... That's okay. So that's a reaction from Conqueror. He hasn't killed very many villagers, and he's lost a bunch of units just from the TC fire. But he has forced 8 pikes, so that's a big deal for him. This is good.
Yeah, it is, helping to draw level a little bit, and he'll get in there, taking out big wall piece, and Tabban now sending the 700 coin, but that's not to age up, that's just to keep making units by the looks of things.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah, certainly does. He's got a backup though, he's seen this pikeman there, doesn't want to take that fight under the TC, but both players now sort of actually might end up getting into a bit of a colonial scuffle, because it seems like Conqueror has risen to this pressure and aggression, and, you know, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yeah, here we go. Pikes. This is it, right? These are the only pikes he's going to get. Unless he trains more at the barracks, which obviously cost wood. And as Dutch, you want to be spending that wood on banks. So I wouldn't count on him getting more pikes. This is what he has to work with, and this is how he handles the Hussars. So he's got to be very, very careful here. Minutemen are being called there from the forward TC. Now trying to bring forward his Hussars here. Gonna get...
He's got to focus down those pikes at the back. Tabban getting onto the Hussar quite nicely. The pikes are still up there, though.
Yeah.
They now need to be focused down.
They've got to find their way onto the cab, which they have done. More muskets entering the fray here. Those villagers getting back to work, but putting 10 in there just to keep the damage at maximum. And it looks like France has pushed through. He's made a hole. He's starting to push his opponent back, though there are some skirmishers here. He has got, though, enough Hussar to handle that. I really like the French position.
And Hussar hit points coming in as well.
Yeah, that's good. He needs this. This is what France needs. Look at his eco. He's behind. He has to, and this is what he's intending to do with this colonial pressure, is push in and do some damage, and he's been successful in that.
Killing Vils now as well. Very nicely done. 3 or 4 Vils going down there, and those skirms and Minutemen really not going to be long for this world at this point. But yeah, forcing him, look at that, more pikes. That cannot be good. Yeah,
because he wants to train skirms now to handle these muskets. But to do that, you'd be very weak to Hussars, so having to train pikes, and there's 700 food coming out just because he's been forced off resources and needs to mass up units with it.
Yeah, idle time then starting to compound for Conqueror here. Taban looking pretty good. I mean, he is still behind in villages at this point, so you know he's not been idling. He's not been idling Conqueror's production at all, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The question is, has he done enough? He doesn't seem to have finished a dealt a finishing blow, sorry.
Yeah, but he does have the stagecoach in the back, so this 42 eco is better than it seems because of that training post there. So maybe it's fine. And what he has done is forced Conqueror to... we saw him ship 8 pikes, and that meant it wasn't shipping a bank wagon, right, which is what he really wanted to be sending. And we saw him train 5 more pikes, which has delayed this bank here. But it looks like, with the completion of this bank, Conqueror now at 51. But hold on, he's at, what happened? 4 CDB shipment. Okay, so that's going to level the playing field.
Yeah, and then like you said before, he's got the stagecoach as well, so that's pretty solid. And then obviously has the TP on the right side on top of that, which probably isn't a stagecoach, but yeah, it's not.
It's all good. XP for free. We don't mind that at 3:30, having tea.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get to 3:30 by the time we finish the series.
It's been going late, that's for sure. It won't go that late, I'm sure. But
no.
Skirms, good against Musks. But there's a lot of cav there. He's got pikes.
Too much cav.
There's too much red stuff.
Yeah, general. And I mean, I thought he'd just commit to sieging down that TC, but he sees an opportunity now to take down this army. He's going to get straight in there with the Hussar. And yeah, the pikes are in, but obviously the Musks will do their best to focus them down, Taban bringing them back. The pikes are just not going to be able to stand up to that.
Yeah. And he's trying to go Skirm Huss because that's the next best thing. You just don't have Musks as Dutch, and it's like awkward to get stuck in this colonial, drawn out. It's hard. Skirm Huss is awkward. But
that's it. Taban going to pile everything in there and clean it up.
Really, really nice.
GG.
Hand attack coming in as well. Yeah, I think so. All these GG coming in. Does get a batch of skirms, but the villagers won't be able to gather, and that's enough units to end the game there. Taban pulls ahead in the series, making it 2-1. It is now match point. This is a best of 5. But don't go anywhere. We will have more games coming up, at least one more in the grand finals of the Two Towns tournament, co-hosted by, of course, ESOC, as well as us here at Escape.
Yeah, Taban there getting a win with French, and that means that he doesn't have French in his pool of civs anymore.
In his repertoire.
Which, that's interesting because the French have been consistently strong today. And now that that's out of the way, Conqueror could easily pick French in the next game.
That's true.
And, take it right back to Taban and equalize the series 2-2. But as you say, this match point, Taban needs one more victory to take the series home. And that was another case again where Taban had less villagers or less eco, but had more resources due to the idling.
Yeah.
And probably the stagecoach as well, helping.
Let's take a look at military unit population as well. First fight sort of held out the Dutch player, but that second, after some skirmishing at the end, he comes in for that final blow and really delivers it. And yes, that does end the game there. The next map will be on Parallel Rivers. And I hope we get to watch this Explorer walk around for a bit instead of the camera, because I really like this particular one. I'm going to try another overlay like this, but I'm going to make it even better, less blurry, all that kind of thing. It's going to be great. But yeah, this is Nuschelbar's Explorer, for anyone wondering, versus Kaiser Klein snapshotting a treasure. But let's get into the next lobby.
Let's see here. Parallel Rivers could be an opportunity for Portuguese again. We saw those earlier, number of times actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is an interesting map, isn't it? Because players sort of expand to the north, and there's a lot of opportunities to go across that center line and sort of poke at each other. But yeah, what civs have we not really seen today? We've not really seen...
We've not seen any Otto.
Well, obviously not. They're banned.
Yes, they were
By the
banned.
way, TTT, Triple Town Tournament. How about that? What do we say? Next time. Could be an idea. Just saying.
All right. I like it. That sounds intense.
Yeah. It does. But, actually, in Eerie 2, there is a map where you start with 3 TCs. It's pretty cool.
How does that end up most of the time?
Crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Triple the resources as well.
I'm not sure if I want to do a whole tournament of that, but
No,
maybe a best
anything
of
but that.
something.
Here we go. We've not seen Russian today on our stream. We've seen plenty of Japanese, but I know Conqueror played Russian earlier because I had the ESOC stream on the second monitor over here, and I saw that he was playing Russians earlier on. I believe he even beat Kaiser Klein with the Russians. I may be wrong. Correct me if I am. But that seems to be a strong pick for him and might be exactly what he needs to bring himself back into this series.
May have beaten Kaiser Klein with Russia and certainly beat Kaiser Klein overall because he's here in the grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this. Game number 4 in a best of 5 series between Taben and Conqueror for the Two Towns tournament. As I said, co-hosted by Escape and ESOC here. This is the grand finals. We will see in the south of the map, in the color red, Japan being piloted, so to speak, by Taben here.
It sounds like there's something the Japanese would do, like, Taben Civ is just a mech. And, he's piloting his mech. It's great.
Perhaps so. Taben is pretty skilled for a cat with a lime helmet.
Yeah, he is. I asked him actually what his favorite animal was, and he specifically said cats with lime helmets.
Nice. And I believe that's on our website for the New World Championship because we asked him a bunch of questions.
It is.
But Taben, he will be placing his town centre immediately next to his first one. We've seen this before from Japan. They don't require a lot of map control, so they kind of like the fact that because of the cherry orchards, they don't need to leave their base. They can have double the protection here. Really, really nice. And we've seen this before as well. The extra 10 population does mean that getting that consulate, you don't need to build your shrine. You can spend that wood instead on the consulate there. So that's really, really good for him. And has raced his explorers up to the top of the map where we know that the goats spawn there. Want to start getting them ASAP. And as Japan, that's really, really nice, especially because you're not building a shrine with one of them. You've got 2 scouts to dedicate to collecting the goats. And as you can see, 5 goats already. Conqueror hasn't got any, but and there's one dead one there, so that's not going to be get. But there are 3 over in this location. He will get some.
Yeah. And Conqueror then, where's he putting... Yeah, that TC there in the middle going up.
Oh, yes, we didn't introduce him. Here, Conqueror is in the south of the map, in the color teal, playing as the Russians. And yes, he's gone for, like we saw in some of the Portuguese games, some sort of lateral expansion, I like to call it. I don't know if that's right, but indeed...
Longitudinal, as I've been calling it.
Has expanded forward for those resources in the top.
And actually, Russia, similarly to how he played the Germans, perhaps, in Game 1, it could be a similar play style, actually. Sort of like to have that forward base, like to apply that pressure with the blockhouses. Could be a good staging point to have that TC with a couple of blockhouses in the middle of the map there. Would like to just acknowledge, though, that it's getting very late here, and we appreciate you guys sticking around for the grand finals, wherever you may be. It's midnight on a Sunday, so for those that have school or work tomorrow, thank you for sticking with us, and we hope you're enjoying the stream. Do give us a follow if you haven't already, and of course, if you have missed any of the games we cast here, they'll be up on our YouTube channel later on in the week. Information about that below, but who gets it?
Japan.
Stolen.
Rest in pieces. And to top it off, he's like, I'm gone.
I'm out. Drop the mic.
Well done.
So, yeah, that's pretty good for Japan. Now, let's have a look at the treasuring, actually, while we're at it. Obviously, Japan should be ahead.
Japan, 90 wood and 30 XP there, as well as 8 goats. His opponent, no treasures at all.
No.
And hasn't even found these 3 goats yet, though they are claimed up in the top there. He's going to pick up his first treasure, which is 35 wood, a small consolation
prize, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not great. Taben has sent 300 food, so I like this. It allows you to get up to...
That's the meta these days on the two-town double... TC tournament.
It's one of the metas. We saw mostly 300 wood from Japan. But against Russia, I'm really not surprised to see 300 food.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nimino, for the 12-month resub, by the way. That is a year. I think our overlay might be broken because I'm not seeing these things popping up. Like, our alert box has just stopped working for some reason. But we do see you on our screen here. So thank you, Nimino.
It works periodically for...
Yeah.
I guess it's deciding who it likes and doesn't.
We'll fix this at some point. But he said, till many more years. 1 year anniversary. Thank you for the support.
Cheers.
And look forward to seeing you at the ECL Grand Final in the end of August.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting...
No.
Oh, Streamlabs just refreshed, so maybe it'll work now. Let's find out.
No.
It doesn't seem to be the case. But yes, I'm looking forward to meeting everyone at the ECL Grand Final. There's lots of names in the Twitch chat.
Oh, no, there we go.
There it goes.
Work.
Ah, congratulations. Thank you very much, Nimino. So there is that. But looks like, though, do we have...
Oh, no, it's going to keep happening now.
Nimino,
no. I'm sorry, it might pop up a few times.
It's Nimino again. Yeah.
Thanks, Nimino, for the 13-month reset.
Yeah, well done. Somehow, time traveling. Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Well,
no forward blockhouse yet, though.
No. Wonder going up now in the back, too.
I guess he has to age first. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I just assumed, like, we're at 4 minutes 20. Usually they are aging by this point. But, yeah, 26 villagers. 28, actually, if you do the recalculated because of the distributivism. But, yeah, normally 14 or 17 villagers for Russia. Today, 28.
Yeah, double the TCs, double the villagers, double the fun.
All of this good stuff.
Why not? Is he eating... No, he's not eating goats. Just about goats, by the way. Tabban has all of them, apart from those 3 that haven't been collected. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, look at that.
And they're going to be tasked to this wonder, which is really nice once they arrive.
That's going to be really good for Japan there. Tabban up first, and going to be... What's he doing next? I mean, he sent food, he sent wood. He's not done Heavenly Kami or anything like that.
I feel like this is not actually very good for Tabban, because Russia is not being aggressive.
No,
right?
exactly.
I would say 300 food to get up quickly is a good decision against Russia. But then to send 300 wood as well, and Russia is not being aggressive, is a lot of wasted eco potential.
Yeah, look, he's doing a barracks now, which is not sort of what you expect.
Yeah, Russia has not got a forward villager. He's not even considered... Oh, he's chopping wood now for a blockhouse.
Yeah, in transition. But, like, what's Tabban's scouting? Like, he must have noticed there's not a forward, right? Like, he's sending 600 wood now as well.
Yeah.
Probably for some more shrines, but...
That's fine. Like, 600 wood is good enough for shrines. The 300, though, I'd just like to have seen him maybe wait and send 600 twice or something like that. But we'll have 2 barracks, yeah.
So colonial pressure on the cards. I mean, this is amazing, really, isn't it? I mean, all day we've seen nothing but fast fortresses, and we get to the grand final, and these two are like, yeah, this is how it's actually supposed to be done.
And maybe that's true, because we respect Kaiser and Maito quite a lot, but maybe those strats, that's why they didn't get to the grand finals. Right. Maybe this is just better.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's hard to know, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you can't say for a one-day tournament, and obviously lots of different opponents facing each other at different parts of the bracket, and but it is interesting that this playstyle seems to be prevalent in the grand final. But that's not to say that Conqueror can't go up. If he sends gold now, then he could very easily go up to Fortress himself.
I'll tell you what, though, Zach. Yeah, there's the gold. I think, he's going to go for the Fortress, which is unusual because Russia prefer that. They like to keep their opponent colonial and stuff like that. But I suppose it's so different when you have a second town centre. But I tell you what, look at that Eco 40. He's matching his opponent, and in fact is ahead of his opponent because he's got Eco Theory there, which is not accounted for on this graph. And that's simply because Russia have the fastest training vills in the game. So starting with an extra TC means they've got 2 super fast training villager production facilities, and that's just really good for Russia. So they can keep up with Japan just by training villagers and not really doing anything special.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And there you go, up to age 3 now as Tabban pushes into 2 blockhouses and a TC. I don't think he wants to really be pushing in there, and may very well back out. I mean, forcing some vills idle is all well and good, but losing all your entire army for it is probably not worthwhile.
I think he's going to force the vills into the TC. He's not going to find anything in the back there, but it's okay for him. He knows his opponent is probably going in Fortress Age because he's not seen any units at all. There's no resistance. He's probably expecting the age up and is just marching his villagers through. But this TC is much nicer, isn't it? There's not 2 blockhouses next to it.
I mean, he can't really siege it or do anything, but he can at least force the vills idle and, whoa, actually nearly kill a villager. Hello. popping in there, and whoa!
Lots of idle vills there. This is good, right? Just a small number of units gonna make Russia 25 vills idle. Yeah, but some Strelets are now out though, and that might put an end to that. Oh, hello.
Oh, one more vill down here. He is surely doomed. I mean, there is no way out, no escape, as we like to say. But Conqueror immediately getting a bad engagement there again as he loses 3 Strelets. And Taban's aggression here seems to have paid quite nicely already. But again, it's hard to really say because forcing vills into the TC, it's not something that's represented on the UI by lost potential units, like resources gathered or something.
Conqueror is now up to the next stage, has gone up with 20 Strelets.
Ooh, there they are. Bolster his numbers enough to push this back, but not before losing another villager or 2.
And this has worked out great for Japan. He's killed a couple of villagers. That's what he was hoping to do. 3 villagers, actually. But you are right. He's going to have to leave now. There's a lot of Strelets. But he does have Naginata, which will be enough, actually. There's no anti-cav at all. These Strelets are at the whims of the Naggies. Ooh. He's going to have to call his Minutemen.
Yeah, I think he has to, right? Like, unless he has something else up his sleeve. Although he actually can... Yeah, there's the Minutemen. He nearly can one-shot those Naggies, so it's not so bad. But... yeah, power in numbers and all that. I used to play a lot of the Russians, and I used to make a lot of Strelets until I learned that they were actually quite awful.
Yeah, until you get the upgrades in, then they're actually insane. Yeah, like Strelet Combat and Boyars and all that nonsense.
Let's have a quick look at Conqueror's deck.
Yeah, good idea.
We've not really looked at the decks too much. That looks quite standard.
Standard Russia stuff. Nothing unusual here. You'd even see refrigeration from Russia.
That's really similar.
This card is less standard. The one that transforms all your Strelets into Musks. We've seen that from A's before. And he's making a lot of Strelets, so maybe that is something on the cards, right? Units in queue, 6 vills, no villagers, Strelets more. He's starting to switch to cav.
I think that's such a nice card because not just because the Musk is stronger than the Strelet, but because you bait your opponent into making a lot of cav.
It's a huge tech switch.
And then you just go, bam, actually I'm anti-cav now.
Yeah, and you're like...
oh, well, I just made 40 Naginata, rip me, you know? So I think that's really interesting. It's such a... It's a very curious card. But what about Taban's deck? Is that looking... well, he sent Daimyo, but... well, that also looks really sort of...
there's a lot of extra Age 1 Cherry Blossom in here. Not something you'd usually see.
No, but the rest is really quite standard.
The rest is quite normal, except for 300 food and 300 wood. But that's for this format completely fine, right? So nothing unusual there. Also enlist irregulars if he needs it, which is the Colonial Militia card. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Strelets, because Suvorov reforms could well be quite strong. Japan, though, has now got his Daimyo, has sent his Cherry Orchard wagons, and I think from here on out, is looking to sort of move in, be aggressive, has the units, and behind this can send upgrades. It's looking good for Japan.
He's got good numbers, and he's got the stronger units pound for pound as well. I mean, the military unit population is an indicator, right? But 65 Ashigaru is probably better than like what he has right here. Hard to say for sure, but has he got veteran though? He has got veteran Strelet.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of Strelets, so even if he's intended to, it's probably still worth it. And we may not see the musket thing, but it is certainly an option there. Perhaps it will present itself an opportunity to do. We don't know. But now coming in with a lot of Naginata, he's got Daimyo Masuma, Mochitada, pardon me, behind him. Lots of Asterios and muskets.
He's looking for this fight. He is spoiling for the fight here.
But this is an awkward position.
It is very awkward. I don't know who for more, though. Probably Taban.
Yeah, for Taban, just because it would be hard to get all the Musks in range. But they have found their range.
20 Strelets coming in, though.
And a few more Naginata from the back there. The Strelets coming in from this side.
Why does it say 17 on the UI? It's changed, isn't it?
It's been buffed, yeah.
Well, there it is. 20 Strelets coming in. But still, Conqueror only just even in numbers, and Taban starting to come out on top in this fight. Even though it's a bit of an awkward position, he is still winning here.
I think he's figured out the positioning. It's mostly ranged units now, so it's sort of okay. Strelet's obviously better against Ashies than they are against the Strelets, but there's so many units.
Out, though.
Yeah, Cav Archers. That's going to be what he needs to handle the Cav. Naginata. Where's the Daimyo? He's in the back here. He's still quite picking off Strelets. He's doing his bit.
He's doing a good amount there, actually, and obviously buffing the units in front as well. Overall, probably about even, really, when you consider units lost, but probably a bit more expensive for Tabin since his army is a little more expensive overall as well. But yeah, fighting under the blockhouses and the TCs, he's comfortable to do that, it seems, for now. Still wants to keep pushing and pushing and pushing here.
Third blockhouse going down. He's still got Minutemen from this TC, remember. Units in queue, Cav Archers, nothing at the blockhouses. Is he going to get that up?
Well,
I think
Tabin's looking good here.
Yeah, Tabin is looking good here.
But I don't think he's got enough to siege down these buildings, that's the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
He'll have to back up, he's lost a lot of units.
Does get that third blockhouse up down.
Counter raid, by the way, on the other side. Not doing much.
Just this chap. Yeah.
No, I meant the teal raid there, but it's not doing much, yeah.
Oprishnik's going to start running around the map, tearing down the shrines.
2 Falcons coming in for Conqueror. I think it's Tabin who needs the Falcons, to be honest. But he doesn't have Falcons that he can send. He'll have to send Flaming Arrows instead. But he can't do that because he's still only age 2. So it's kind of difficult because this is very well fortified, right? And I feel like he maybe needs some artillery to perhaps break that position.
Yep. And I like this. I do like this from Conqueror, right? Because he just needs to clean up the shrines. He's very conscious that Japan has a strong eco, and the shrines are a big part of that, so has allocated some resources to dealing with it. But yeah, he's got his Falconets now, and in this fortified position, I can't see Tabin pushing too much further in. But Tabin's done the damage he needs to, and look at his eco. It is really strong. It's
very strong. I think he needs age 3 now. But for now, yeah, I mean, roaming around with the Oprishniks going to be
he's dedicating.
Conqueror, going to be taking away some of that eco lead from Tabin.
And but now Tabin knows that though. He doesn't want to lose his eco, so splits off some Naginata to handle the Oprishnik raids, and it just gets there in time to leave.
Oh, good
Not going to catch him today, and a few Cav Archers are going to shut down the Nagy's hope to actually raid that.
Yeah, it looks like it. So well played by Conqueror to do that. And actually getting caught there a little
More
bit,
fortifications.
Wow, yeah. Cav combat coming in as well for Conqueror. Starting, I mean, look at this, right? 3 eco shipments sent. Everything after that, military.
Yeah. Sending 2 cherry orchards again.
Yeah. Sort of kills his momentum a little bit, doesn't it? For
Nagy's get caught. That's really good for Conqueror. They're all dead. They didn't get anything done, really. So, but he does have a good sizable mass on the front here. But cannons are getting set up. Has taken down 2 blockhouses whilst that was all happening. But he's still up. He's still standing. And remember, he's got both TCs. He can train a lot of villagers. If he can keep this up, perhaps he can catch up in eco. But I'm still feeling pretty good for Japan. But he's lost perhaps some momentum, sending 2 cherry orchards again here.
Exactly. I still think he has to get to age 3, though, right? I mean, it's all well and good having a solid mass of units and being able to push in, but Conqueror now is age 3, does have Falcons on the map. He's just got Boyars as well, so they're all suddenly a lot more buff. And I think it's going to be difficult for him until he gets age 3 to really make a game-winning push.
That is the trouble, isn't it? To keep up with basically veteran units and veteran upgrades and stuff like that. Yeah, he's still colonial. I suppose he did have the Daimyo, wherever that's gone, but I think, an age up. And I think Tabin knows that as well. Look, he's got a lot of food stacked. He's probably waiting for 600 gold, and he's going to be going up to the Fortress Age, I think.
He's got the shipment now. He's just not sent it, so maybe he's deliberating that.
Yeah.
What he'd rather do.
But I think overall Tabin is in a good spot. He did a lot of damage, I think, and he's got a really strong eco, and that's what he wanted. And perhaps if he can follow up to Fortress behind this, it will look really solid.
Yeah, I think so too. He definitely would look solid if he can get up comfortably. But Conqueror now sort of bouncing back, I feel, looking very good. Boyars, does that improve? Does it improve the Cavalry Archer? I'm not sure. It's only
it's just we can check it, but I think it's just
Oprishnik, Strelot, and
Cossack.
Cossack. Okay, yeah. Because obviously he's gone Cavalry Archer now to deal with the Naginata that we're seeing. That's fine. This map is very loud, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed.
It is very. I can turn that down.
A lot of ambient sound. No, it's fine. It's just like this one map in particular seems to be really loud. A loud map. Yumi Archer, though, being mixed in now for Tabin. And age 3 still not there just yet.
Yeah.
Continuing to pump out a lot of age 2 units.
I imagine 600 coin is coming now. He's macroed for an age up, and it's just awkward if it doesn't arrive in a moment.
It kind of is, isn't it?
But Oprishniks are going to find some villagers.
Good find.
It is, but the units are not too far away. He's going to sacrifice a few villagers. I think these ones can get away.
Yeah. Now Conqueror needs to go back. He should be paying close attention. Doesn't want to get snared. Looks like he got a one snared. We'll have to sacrifice that, but that's fine. Kills a couple of vills, gets out.
Yeah, he's killed Conqueror. Wow, he's lost 19 villagers, I guess, during that sort of fight over here, which explains this big discrepancy.
Imagine if you had an extra 20 vills, he'd be ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
But
That's
this is
good for Taben there.
But this is what Conqueror has a big moment coming, right? Because Taben is mismacroed. He's got 2,000 food and 700 gold sitting there idle.
He's about to age, but let's see. Cannons are in, surrounded by Cav Archer. Good luck getting on top of that, Taben. That's going to be tough. Coming in now with the Yuumi to try and focus them down. And he does that quite successfully, actually. So that was really good for Taben to get those cannons out of the way. And Conqueror just feeling a little bit maybe out of his depth to take that fight there. And does have to back up. But yeah, Taben there, able to take a pretty good engagement by the looks of things. It was great, just walking straight up to the cannons, no fear.
Yeah, he did a lot of Ashy, right? With the Ashy attack on them, they can just blast the cannons down real fast. Worked out really nicely.
Yeah, and the Yuumi too. But yeah, Taben is still mismacroed at the moment. Meanwhile, a little scuffle over there, but barreling down the front of Conqueror's base. Going to sit under the TCs and blockhouses all day by the looks of things, but I'm not sure that's the best decision.
He is, I think, slowly... This is working out for him. He's now got the better comp. Like a lot of Cav Archers are going to be very good against the Nagi, which can't get involved. And the muskets have dwindled in numbers down to the point where they're not super relevant. So he pushed him back, but didn't make any ground, which was clearly what he wanted to do. He was pushing forward with the intention of, using those cannons to really push forward. And instead he finds himself defending again, back on his second TC.
Yeah, Conqueror should be able to start pulling this back here again. Taben might go north and find some vills, though. Yeah, he's finding vills in the north.
And he's still mismacroed like crazy, though.
Yeah,
he's almost getting that age up in, but he's, I think, paid quite a lot. Look at the eco. He's caught up. The military's not as impressive as before. I think that Taben taking so long to get that 600 gold in has really ruined his day. And look, Advanced Arsenal coming in as well. The fact that the game pace has slowed down has meant that Conqueror has been able to get in Boyard, Strelic Combat, and Advanced Arsenal all this time, whilst Taben has been, sort of a bit awkwardly positioned in his resources.
He's been sending Age 2 shipments as well. He's not been getting bigger power spikes from those shipments that he could have gotten. He might 5 Ashy now coming.
I think he's committed to Age 2. Yeah. He's starting to spend down the resources.
Ooh.
Conqueror might bring it back.
I'm not sure about this. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's a great fight for Taben there, starting off really well.
Yeah.
There are obviously a lot of Cav Archer in there, but again, not going to be a good engagement.
He's not fighting, he's just trying to get out.
No, that's an awful engagement for Conqueror, throwing away so much right there.
Yeah, 21 Yuumi mixed in.
No.
Really strong against the Cav Archer. They're just trying to get back to the safety of this fortified position.
I can't believe he lost so much there for free. I mean, positioning is so important, right? Wow. Advanced Arsenal, though, will allow him to get some additional upgrades here.
Yeah. Nothing coming in just yet. He still has to build the arsenal, right?
Still. But yeah, more Strelic coming out, just sort of sitting under these blockhouses here. And Taben barreling once again through the middle of the map. If at first you don't succeed, try again, it seems, for Taben here.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, Conqueror going to try and hold underneath this TC and the 3 blockhouses here. Has the reinforcements coming out right in the fight here as well. More Cav Archers to come.
There's not enough. It's not enough. Taben is winning this fight.
Yeah, he's dwindling those numbers down, isn't he?
Just the Yuumi Archer guys. But the Oprishniks are coming forward. There's a lot of vills on his mind, but he hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, it does look like he will clean that army up in the middle, though. Conqueror here, I think he's struggling with the Yuumi, to be honest. They seem to be really effective here.
Cossack shipment, though. What he needs, that's ideal.
Right on top of the Yuumi,
but
that's
there's
perfect.
So many Yuumi, though. I don't know if it'll be super relevant.
Oh, I don't know. He's killing off those Yuumi very, very quickly, actually.
Yeah, but
that's incredibly quick.
Shinobi Nomoro's coming in there. Still hasn't found these villagers, so Taben's safe for the time being. But if those Oprishniks had gone up here, that could have caused some real issues.
Yeah, it could.
He was actually Conqueror, tiles away from causing havoc for Tabern. But yeah, looks like Oprishnik's coming home. They're cavalry. They're going to be good against these archers, and he's back
Cavalry
in a position.
Cuirass coming in too now.
He's figured it out, and I think Conqueror's still in this game, surprisingly even, just because Tabern's not been able to find a way up to age 3.
Right. I mean, he had an opportunity earlier on, I think, but he
Kind of
decided to
fluffed
push.
it up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And he's still ahead in military, but, you know, Russia can keep producing units from this forward location and reinforcing quite quickly. And
Tabern, he is running out of resources. The gold mine has just expired. There is only food. There's no mines on his side of the map, and we see a lot of villagers tasked to wood there. 38 on wood, nothing on coin. He does have shrines. He probably will switch this over to gold, but he is not pushing anymore unless it's with Yumi Archer, because he does not have access to coin until we get that rice paddy switch done. He started switching over to rice paddies.
Good job, Yumi Archers are great.
Good job for sure, yeah. But for the time being, Conqueror still has gold, 1,400. But Naginata barreling towards that mine here. Thankfully, he can garrison in there. And he also has a mine in the back of his base, and certainly one on the bottom there. So for the time being, I actually quite like Conqueror's position, providing he doesn't lose too many or any villagers here.
Yeah,
he has got a lot of gold.
Away very quickly. Might lose 1 or 2 vills.
Can he drop a quick wall with a house?
Oh, imagine that.
It's really hard in AoE 3.
Yeah.
But
no, it's not so straightforward, is it? In AoE 2, it's very easy to quick wall because the game is so much more easily.
Yeah.
It's easy to see the grids, right?
And everything's
this is very curved and more organic looking. It's hard to see where everything lines up.
You can do it in H3, but like, let's say I place a house, he then just sieges it down, right? He's going to kill it very quickly with that number of cavs, so even then it doesn't actually work.
Oh, Conqueror, where are you going, bro? Get back.
Yeah, he figured that one out.
But yeah, look at the upgrades on the Cossack. I think he could be focusing more on Cossack here.
Text complete. Shall we have a look? He's got counter-infantry rifling for his Strelets.
Good.
That is good, but there's no muskets here. He's switched away from that. He's got paper cartridges, which is going to improve Strelets as well as muskets. Cavalry, cuirass, and he's starting to switch himself over to mills and plantations.
I mean, just look at those Cossacks for a second and see what they have on them.
Sure.
They've got veteran, they've got cavalry cuirass, they've got boyars, they've got
they're looking pretty good, aren't they?
Upgrade there, combat upgrade.
Cavalry combat.
That's solid, and they're really, they're 1 pop. Remember, for cavalry, that's very effective.
They're very pop effective. Yeah, I love this dynamic of how Tabern has no gold on his side, but lots of food, and Conqueror has coin on his side, but no hunts.
Yeah,
so,
right.
like you can see what resources they've been chugging at, right? So there's that.
Yeah, I'm interested if Tabern will ever reach age 3 this game, and I wonder if he really necessarily needs to. He's got a huge army, double the military of Conqueror right here.
And a lot more eco to boot.
Yeah, he's got more behind it. But I don't know, man. Conqueror, his army's cheaper, remember, and he's pushing out. I think it's a bad idea. He needs to go back. He has to go back here, surely. But he's stuck in now. Manchus are in, so they're going to be quite effective here against the Cav, right?
Yeah.
But still, just far too many units for Tabern, it seems. Got to GB. What are the upgrades on the Naginata looking like, actually? What do they actually have? Like, literally nothing.
No upgrades.
So,
vanilla Nagis.
I feel like the Cossacks going to be great here, honestly. The more Cossacks coming in, I think this is a good decision from Conqueror. He's going to take some very cost-effective fights, I believe. Yeah, look at that military pop, right? Like, it's not too bad.
It is actually quite amazing how Conqueror can hang on so much, but the Nagis, they do have an upgrade on them. No Daimyo anymore, but it just seems the sheer eco, now that he's switched to the plantations and mills, pardon me, rice paddies, the sheer eco of just flooding units in here is actually starting to overwhelm the Russian player, even if he does have better upgrades.
It really feels like a war of attrition, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not even just like the veteran upgrade. It's all the additional shipments and like advanced arsenal upgrades on top of that.
Yeah, and he's getting back here. Even if he has more numbers, he's afraid of 10 cav pop or something from these two stables. He can't be caught out in the open. He has to go home. He needs some anti-cav.
With a mono unit army, yeah, absolutely has to go back.
But he's fully switched now.
Oh my goodness!
This is look. Tabern is in a great spot. He's fully switched over, and now he can continue that pressure.
That's insane. 93 eco, and he's coming in for a flank here. If he gets onto those farms, actually, the thing is, I think Tabern's sort of got this tunnel vision on attacking that same location. There's other places to attack along the river. Like, look at this. Go to the right from these mills, and then you just walk across there and be on the mills, right?
That would be ideal.
He's not even gone that way yet.
Oh.
This could be the first time he does it.
He's figured it out. He heard you speaking, Zach.
Yeah, maybe. It's 2-minute delay on the stream, though, just to
clarify. Yeah.
But yeah, that is what he needed to do all this time, and now he's on the mill. That is fantastic.
And now he's scrambling.
Needs to react.
Yeah, and that's going to shut down the food production, which in turn shuts down military production. And now going to stand on these 2 mills, and he can't afford to rebuild 2 mills. He's got a lot of units here. Look, some villages even going to go down, and he's coming with the Strelets, but I can tell you for free, this army's got the advantage.
You won't charge me that one. Well, we'll see, won't we? There's not enough Cossack in there at all, and quite a lot of cavalry from Tabern, so yeah, you've got to get out of there with those Strelet, my friend. But more Cossack coming in could be a really big game changer if he's able to sort of take down some of these Naginata. He does have Cav Archers in the back. But yeah, I mean, Conqueror is obviously going to keep playing on here. This is match point, remember. If Tabern wins this, he does win the grand final, takes the lion's share of the prize pool, but that is it. Conqueror calls the GG. He knows he cannot hold on any longer against the sheer numbers of Tabern, that superior economy, that superior numerical army. Didn't matter that he had basically no upgrades. He could afford to funnel them in and send them to their deaths time after time until he got the win.
You know, it's a really weird dynamic because Japan we usually think of as having incredibly strong units and Russia having really weak ones. But this way around, these Strelets and these Cossacks of Russia were so stacked.
For sure.
Yes.
Was great. I had a great time casting that.
Yes.
Me too.
But
Good
yes,
stuff.
that was absolutely awesome. What a great tournament we had
I've
today.
got to say as well, Japan finally winning a game. It's about time.
It was really, really enjoyable. We got to see some Ceylon, and we got to see some really great games today. So yes, now I'm tired. I am too. This has been, we started at 15 GMT, now finishing at
midnight
GMT, or actually...
No, 1 GMT.
Okay, 1 GMT. That's a long number of hours. So I think on that note... Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. It was a 3-1 victory for Tabern in the end, but it was a brilliant series, and despite such a long day, thoroughly enjoyed casting this tournament. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. The final prize pool was $306, unless it did go up in the meantime.